one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary.
After watching a video that people are reporting hearing.
The mystery behind Angie Stone's death keeps getting more and more layered, and now some new chilling details have just dropped, proving that Angie's accident might not have been an accident at all. Some leaked police files just proved that Angie didn't actually die from the crash as we all thought. Believe it or not, the streets are saying that Angie was deliberately taken out after the crash, and it was just staged to make it look like an accident. But that's not all. Allegedly, all the other people involved in the accident, from Angie's crew members to the 18-wheeler truck driver, have either been paid off or made to disappear, so they won't reveal the truth about what really went down. So, what really happened to Angie Stone? Was there an accident? Or is someone trying to pull the wool over our collective eyes? What does this have to do with her beef with Universal Music Group? Let's get into it. So, as you all know, Angie Stone reportedly passed away in a tragic crash while she was returning from a Mardi Gras concert in Alabama. She was in a Sprinter that allegedly flipped over multiple times and was hit by an 18-wheeler truck, resulting in her death. Out of about 10 people, including the truck driver, Angie was the only one who lost her life. However, people are starting to ask questions, and these new receipts seem to hint that the crash might have been a cover-up for a much more sinister plot to take Angie out of the picture. People are not willing to let all the red flags slide, and fans are demanding answers. The most glaring red flag about all this is the fact that Angie allegedly, the driver of the 18-wheeler truck that hit Angie and ultimately unalived her, is nowhere to be found. Just poof, gone, vanished into thin air. You would think that there would at least be an arrest pending investigation, or the guy would at least be questioned by police, and the result of that questioning would be made public. But right now, there's nothing.
Now, did the truck driver get out and start rendering aid too? Because when you hit somebody, you supposed to start rendering aid, or that's a crime within itself.
Guys, an 18-wheeler truck doesn't just go off the rails and ram into a van that was not even on the road to begin with. If you guys have read reports from the crash, you will notice that Angie's vehicle first flipped over and skidded off the road. So, unless the 18-wheeler truck driver was drunk, asleep, or distracted in some way, there's no way he didn't notice that the truck was heading in the wrong direction. Either that, or the truck itself was faulty, and the trucking company needs to be held accountable. Either way, there should have been an investigation already. An arrest, a mugshot, a statement from the company, something. Instead, all we have are rumors that the driver quit and went off the grid, never to be heard from again. Something definitely smells fishy.
People are reporting hearing pop, pop, pop before the crash. Sounds like we may have a case of road rage. Either one, road rage, or two, you know what. Now, it seems that the pop, pop, pop may have been gunshots to the tires, and that will cause the van to lose control.
As if that wasn't suspicious enough, there was this woman named Courtney who came online and reported that she and her daughter stumbled upon Angie after the initial crash. And get this, according to the woman, everybody appeared to be alive. Yes, including Angie. Courtney claimed she and her daughter were driving by when they saw the crash. She got out of the car to go and help and maybe call for paramedics. But when she got there, she found out that everyone was still alive.
And its flashers were on, so we slowed down some. And that's when I noticed there was an overturned vehicle in the fast lane. And it looked like it just happened. I pulled over, I put my flashers on, and I told my daughter to stay in the car. And I ran over, it was a van, and I ran over, and there were so many people in this van, and they were just trying to get out. And I asked if they'd called the cops, and they said, we're just trying to get out. And they were helping this woman out off the side of the van, and I grabbed her hand, and I helped her get down. and she seemed out of it, and I was holding her hand and she was wobbling around.
They were pretty banged up, but they were trying to get out of the vehicle. She claimed she helped Angie out and wanted to get her to sit down while they waited for help. But here's where the story takes a bizarre turn. According to Courtney, before they could figure out the next step, the 18-wheeler brushed past her and rammed into Angie.
And then the next thing I know, I flew and I fell down to the ground, and it felt like something not ran over me, but brushed over me. Like something just swiped over my body. And I got up and I could hear screaming, and I just focused in on one screaming, and it was my daughter. And all I could do was run across the highway and tell her to get back in the car.
At first, people were giving her the side eye because her story didn't really make sense. I mean, if you get brushed by an 18-wheeler, you're lucky to even be alive in critical condition. There's no way you're making it out with just a few scrapes and bruises. But you know we weren't there, so maybe she didn't explain it well. But here's where it gets even creepier. After Courtney posted her video revealing all these secrets, she took all her videos down. When she was asked why she deleted the videos, she claimed that Angie's family had asked her to take them down. But before anyone could really figure the whole thing out, Courtney's account suddenly disappeared. This made people start wondering what was really going on here. Was she a paid crisis actor, or did someone threaten her to keep quiet about her experience? Taking a few videos down to respect the family's privacy is one thing, but getting rid of the account altogether, now that's suspicious. Folks also found it suspicious that Courtney never talked about going to the police station to make a report. Shouldn't that be the next logical step after almost getting crushed by an 18-wheeler? But as you'll see, there are very few logical things about this story, like the fact that some eyewitnesses came online and reported that they heard loud popping noises right before the crash. Allegedly, these loud pops sounded a lot like gunshots, leading to another theory that Angie was taken out before the 18-wheeler came into the picture. The fact that there are so many inconsistencies in this story seems really shady, especially when you consider all the things Angie was doing in the weeks leading up to her death. Angie posted a series of videos on her social media revealing that the label she was signed to, UMG, stole over $50 million from her. She revealed that the label didn't pay her royalties and used her music without giving her proper credit and payment.
Universal Music. It's the second part of the ugly truth. We begin to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen.
They stole so much from her that she couldn't even retire when she wanted to, because how would she keep the lights on? Angie was basically slaving away while the label bosses were getting richer off of her sweat.
So hard, which is why I traveled so much, which is why I did shows, because at the end of the day, after 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company, and even though there's several class action lawsuits.
The worst part, UMG never took responsibility for its actions, and that's why she called them out. Angie also revealed that throughout her career, artists have been using her work and copying her style without paying or giving her credit. For example, she once sued Bruno Mars and Mark Ronson for sampling her song Funk You Up on their hit song Uptown Funk without getting the proper license. Angie and her friends Cheryl the Pearl Cook and Gwendolyn Blondie Chisholm them, formed the first female hip-hop and rap group, The Sequence, when they were just in their teens. They had many hits and paved the way for other female hip-hop artists. However, they were never recognized for their contributions to the culture or paid what they were due. But that's not all. Angie was also one of the pioneers of the neo-soul genre, and she inspired a whole generation of female R&B and neo-soul artists, from Jill Scott and Lyfe Jennings to Erykah Badu and Mariah Carey. But guess what? Angie never got the credit. In fact, it was pretty clear that nobody had Angie's best interests at heart. Not her record label, not her legal team, not her management, colleagues, or even her family. Angie once spilled the tea about how Jill Scott's management had her shadowing Angie, copying her style, her sounds, even down to her dressing. One time, Mary J. Blige's label allegedly stole Angie's songs for her. According to Angie, they stole a song she did with D'Angelo called Every Day, and another one called Die, which Mary renamed Paradise. In fact, the reason why UMG could steal so much from her for so long was that her management didn't look out for her. They dropped the ball so often that Angie missed many potentially career-changing opportunities.
On my behalf, never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time, because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships, and what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything.
For example, Angie was supposed to appear alongside Idris Elba in the movie Number One Ladies Detective Agency. Idris actually wanted Angie to take the role. However, when her management didn't show up, the role eventually went to Jill Scott.
When you hire a team of people that, to some degree, supposed to have your back, you're thinking that they're getting it all together for you. You know, that's why, you know, I respect Oprah Winfrey in that respect when she said, do your own research. Angie Stone, the celebrity, that I let a lot of important things slip through the cracks only because I didn't know any better.
Even her romantic relationships weren't drama-free. When Angie was dating singer D'Angelo, she helped him push his career forward because, if you'll remember, she was a star before D'Angelo started popping. She would write songs for him, put in a good word that helped him land gigs and support him financially. But D'Angelo refused to acknowledge her support, and he was always doing things to undermine her. When the relationship ended, Angie found out that D'Angelo's people had started rumors about how she was the one that got him hooked on alcohol and she ruined his life. They tagged her as a difficult person to work with, which essentially put her on Hollywood's blacklist. For years, Angie wasn't getting booked because of the rumors that D'Angelo's people started about her.
And all I can say is a lot of the promoters, people that would book me, all of a sudden they don't want to book me because I'm problematic because of possibly the damage that was sent to destroy me. They wanted to make sure that the energy was disconnected, that the soul was disconnected, that the tie that binded us was destroyed. So the enemy did a personal attack on me. So there I was, fighting tooth and nail to at least maintain my stability in the industry. No filter.
Word on the street is that Angie's beef with UMG had a lot to do with her supposed accident. She knew too much, so she just had to be taken out of the picture. Like it was all cute when Angie hadn't clocked that people had been stealing from her and trying to sabotage her career. The minute she started trying to expose them, she became worth more to them dead than alive.
Let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me for the legacy of my life, for my children and my grandchildren. They're going to have to give me my money. I mean, when you sit back and think, Bruno.
But what's probably the strangest part of all this is how Angie's family has behaved since the accident. Firstly, if everything Courtney said in her video was true, why did the family ask her to take it down? What were they trying to hide? Also, why was Angie's funeral rushed? I get the need for closure and moving on with their lives, but how much closure can you get when there are still so many unanswered questions? Why haven't they demanded an investigation? And what about everything Angie said about the people stealing from her? How come none of Angie's relatives want to get to the bottom of that? And then there's the fact that Angie's daughter, Diamond Stone, was on Beyonce's internet asking people to send money to her Cash App for no obvious reason. A lot of people found it odd that Diamond was basically demanding money from the fans her mother loved so much instead of honoring her mum's legacy. It made people wonder if Angie's kids had been paid hush money, which is why they chose not to demand justice for their mom. I can't lie, the whole thing is weird and it's giving me major conspiracy vibes. But do you guys think there's more to Angie's story than what we're being made to believe? Do you think Angie survived the initial crash? Let us know in the comments and then check out this next video.